5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Okay. Hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is Patrick Johnson on the Patrick Johnson Radio Show. 94.3 The Game online, 943thegame.com, and the IBX Media app. Nice to have you with us here today. Okay, we got the great Seymour coming up, and we'll look forward to talking some Pirate basketball with him. ECU will be in action at 3:30 for the Boardwalk Battle, and they will take on Jacksonville State in the first game of that event on Thursday afternoon. Some programming notes, and our able-bodied man on the scene, Philip the Ref Pilkington, will correct me if I am wrong here. He'll blow the whistle as any good ref would. He'll throw the flag. He'll call an out if he were an umpire. The yellow card. Is that right? Anyway, he'll call it right down the middle if I screw this up. Thursday, we're going to have Pirate basketball on 107.9 WNCT beginning at 3 o'clock. And then we'll be here for a live and in color Patrick Johnson show at 4, followed by the Logan Zone from 5 until 7. Pilk, did I get that right? Has anything changed since that last bit of information that I received? Or have I totally screwed everything up?
Nope, that's what the powers that be are telling me. The interesting thing about that whole scenario, I don't know if you've looked at the bracket, Patrick, but it says the first beach, boardwalk, whatever it's called, game will be at 11. The second one will start at 1. I have a feeling the second game ain't going to tip at 1 o'clock. And then it says ours is going to start at 3:30. I'm guessing ours might start closer to 4, so it could be a very extended pregame show with Darren Vaught and Dom Kasolke on that because...
Oh, Kasolke on the pregame.
Well, Kasolke's producing it, and because I've got to do your show and Logan's show.
Yeah, you're not getting away from Coach Logan. You gotta be there for story time with Coach Logan at the campfire. So you got to be there for that for sure.
I think we're gonna lose.
Dom Kasolke not feeling positive about that start time too. We just heard from Dom. So, big Dom Kasolke fan. All right. I was wondering what was going on here. My light that is below me so I can see things in my old age was not on. I was trying to figure out
now you're glowing,
what's a little
Patrick.
different.
You look like
I always have a glow. I always have a glow about me,
You have that
Pilk.
glow of like a street lamp in a big city with snow on the ground. I like it.
I thought when you said I have a glow of a street, I thought you were going to say something else, like a street walker or something.
No,
but thankfully not. So, and do street walkers really have a glow? I guess depends on what you've ingested that night and where you are. So, the big news yesterday. So anyway, Seymour coming up talking that. We'll also hear. Did we get any additional football cuts yesterday, Pilk? When we turned it back over to you live from Tiebreakers following the Harold Huddle, or
no,
did you just take it on home?
We had 1 minute and 30 seconds left, so I promoted today's show, and that was it.
There you go. Excellent. I don't want you to not think I was not hanging on every word, but last night was one of those nights. There were a lot of things going on, so a lot of conversations were being had. I've got 11 D1 coaching openings. Of course, we told you yesterday about FAU parting ways with Tom Herman. He had 3 years left on his deal. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I heard they got to pay him like $4 million or something crazy.
Yeah, he's getting a pretty healthy little severance. Stan Drayton gone from Temple. That was no surprise, 9-25. But the one that broke around the time the show was ending for the coaches show last night was word that our guy Biff Poggi is gone. He's out.
That's it.
That's it, Biff. Out of here. 6-16. However, a third of those wins came against
the East Carolina
Guessed
Pirates.
The East Carolina Pirates. So, what is the Biff Poggi legacy? What is it? I don't know. But I do know this. Biff is no more there. He is gone. So 11 openings is what I have now for Division One. I thought in a fun exercise here, Pilk, we could rank them. Now, I had a pros and cons list, but I don't. Let me see if I could find it. I've lost the link to my pros and cons list because I had read a couple things and then I wrote some things down and then I added some other stuff to that in a Google Doc because I'm experimenting with that. I know that's very weird to say, but if you're old like me, it's like, oh, really? But I kind of have a few, pros and cons to it. So if we were ranking these, do we want to? We'll start at the top and rank them to the bottom.
Yeah.
How does that sound, Pill?
All righty. Well, read them off first.
right.
I need to write these
Sure.
down so that I know what all the openings are, so I can rank them top to bottom.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So the openings in the world of college football, East Carolina University. Perhaps you had been unaware of that, Pilk.
Yeah, actually, it's breaking news to me. Thank you.
Yes, little breaking news for you. Fresno State.
All right.
Utah State.
Okay.
Southern Miss, which opened the same day that East Carolina did, but ECU had the first dismissal.
Yep.
Rice happened the next week after ECU. Kennesaw State, which opened recently, and their coach actually went to their Kennesaw walk. I actually thought that was a really sweet moment. The coach was dismissed, and he showed up at like a pirate walk. I don't know what they call it at Kennesaw. But I thought that was really a sweet little thing that the coach did. I thought it was a classy move on the coach's part.
Yeah,
really
it's
did.
better than showing up to practice and trying to take over practice like Biff did this morning.
Oh, did that happen?
Yeah, he showed up to practice today and ran out on the field.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, he's nuts. Well, he ran, which that's breaking news in itself. UMass opened yesterday. Charlotte with Biff. Florida Atlantic, as we mentioned, Temple, and then Ball State is in the back. Little known fact.
Yeah.
All right. So
every owl in Division I athletics is on this list.
Yeah. We could have some real fun and rank the Owls, but it really wouldn't change that much because I've got bookend Owls on this list of mine. So you ready to hear it, Pilk?
Yeah.
I think the number one job available right now, and look, I'm not going to look at this. I'm not going to be a good pirate, maybe. But I'm going to go Florida Atlantic number one on that list. Now, you might ask me why. I'm going to tell you why. You could swing a cat by the tail in South Florida and hit talent. And I know this is the day and age of the portal, but you know where they say they play all their sports, Pilk? Paradise.
They do.
So if they have an NIL that is any bit representative, they will be able to get kids flock to Paradise out of the portal. And even if Florida Atlantic is not somebody's first choice, if it's their second choice, if in other words they don't get recruited by one of the big institutions there in the Sunshine State or even Georgia, you could stay at home, gorgeous weather, and play. So to me, the Florida Atlantic thing would be the number one job, just based on the fact that they're in the most fertile recruiting area.
I can see that.
Do you agree or disagree with my assessment?
I agree with why you chose the team you chose, because I actually picked a different team who's in a very fertile recruiting area, but a team who's got a little more history to fall back on, and I would take the Bulldogs of Fresno State with that. I think the future is bright. They're looking to – are they one of the teams who's going to the Pac-12, I think?
I believe they are,
yeah.
Yes.
So there's that. California is a great recruiting hotbed.
Sure.
So I actually like that. You know, there are guys who've played quarterback there who you've actually heard of, unlike FAU. So that's why I went Fresno number one.
All right. California, as you say, provides a strong recruiting area. The fan support at Fresno State is strong. And they are moving to the Pac-12 in 2026. That support you speak of, though, is sort of, and maybe in some respects, a lot like ECU support. It's a little more than a decade old now,
Yeah, true.
or success, a little more than a decade old now. They have aging facilities. I am going to give Fresno State the number 2 nod on my list only because of the recruiting base in California. And again, it's another place that in a G5 situation, non-power situation, California seems to be a pretty good destination if you're a young college kid.
Yep.
I don't know the NIL situation, but I would imagine it's probably better than most at that level.
Yeah.
So I'm going Fresno State number 2. I assume you would go Florida Atlantic 2?
2, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going our ECU Pirates number 3.
Same. Just because of the fan base, there'll be some NIL support.
Right. NIL support, fan base, tradition. There does seem to be some upward momentum in the program. Certainly, whoever takes over the program is taking over a much better situation than what Mike Houston took over from Scotty Moe.
100%.
Than what Blake Harrell even took over in some ways from Mike Houston. Blake Harrell has made this a more desirable situation. So I would assume then on your list you've got East Carolina 3 also. The con is obviously like it is at a lot of these sort of G5 jobs, ultimate resources. And I'll say this, even if the Fresno State Pac-12 money is better than the American money, it's not going to be considerably better from the television deal. In fact, it may even be, and I mean, it's not going to be, it could end up being worse. I don't think it'll be, I think it'll be about the same, maybe slightly higher, slightly lower, but it's not going to be. I don't know a lot about the situation. You're probably going to think I'm a little crazy here, but I've got Charlotte 4. Because if you're going to have East Carolina 3, then you probably should have Charlotte 4. They're adding on to the stadium. You're in a professional market. There's money in that market. I think there's NIL money to be had and raised there with the proper person. They are committed. They can get P5 recruits into that place. I don't know the academics, but I know some people who've gone to Charlotte, and I think they got in because they were able to spell their name correctly. Is that a dig? I think that was a dig on my part.
Might be, but I mean, yeah, the school you went to is probably about the same.
No. It's very different. I couldn't get into East Carolina now. You might not even be able to get into East Carolina now, and you just left there.
True.
Don't be bagging on our alma mater. We got a dental school and a engineering school and a med school, dog.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm going to go Charlotte 4 because I think Charlotte is population of this state. That's the hot recruiting bed. That city. They could get into Georgia and do a little recruiting. Parts of Virginia do a little recruiting. So I think Charlotte's number 4. Utah State number 5, again, because I think it's one of those situations a lot like Fresno State. There's at least a baseline of some success there. Utah State is not a desolate sort of place. They've and it's a what is it, the MAC and Mountain West there? I was reading earlier they've been to 11 bowls since in the last 15 years or something like that. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good situation there at Utah State. It's not a top Mountain West job, but again, we're ranking these on the list here, right?
Yeah.
I
actually.
So do you agree with my? Do you agree with my top 5?
I have Utah State at 4. And when you look at these teams on this list, it's actually the team, like you said, who has had the most success lately. It's Utah is there's not a huge population, but I think there are a lot of sports fans out there. It just seems like the attendance is always good. They've really struggled of late, and the attendance not what it used to be, but it seems like they've always been a good quarterback destination. Not that their guys are going on to play in the NFL, but just they find ways to win out there. So I like that one. And then I have Southern Miss ahead of Charlotte. Charlotte is not putting anybody in their 15,000-seat stadium as it is. The students do not care. It's one of the number 1 commuter schools in the country. So you don't have a lot of kids living on campus or right by campus. and that hurts
Right.
a lot of the student section. Whereas opposed to Southern Miss, who I have at 5, it's a little more of that football town feel.
There are two other schools that in the last couple decades, 15, 20 years, 10, 15 years, were commuter schools. Cincinnati, Central Florida. Look where they are now.
True.
What did both those institutions do?
Jump to the Big 12.
Got serious about football.
Yep.
Put money hand over fist into football, and now they're in the Big 12. I'm going Southern Miss 6, only because, and I don't think Southern Miss is a great job. I think it actually, frankly, should be way down the list. But the other jobs, I think, are so stinky that I would put Southern Miss, at least on this list, as a mid-level. I got Kennesaw State 7, only because, again, fertile recruiting ground in Georgia. The Atlanta metro is attractive. You can draw kids from Charlotte. You can draw kids from Georgia. You can draw kids from Florida, theoretically. And obviously they've made the move to FBS, so there seems to be some serious commitment there, at least in their mind. I've got number 8. I'm going to surprise you with this one, Pilk. Rice. I think Rice has shown they'll spend a little money on NIL. And I think Rice has a lot of money in their endowment. They have a pretty healthy athletic budget. They're in, obviously, the other fertile recruiting area, but it is Rice, and academics are the rule of the day there. I then have, in no particular order or reason, Ball State 9. I've actually got UMass 10 because I think there's a desire there, and I didn't want to put Rini and Golia's alma mater in dead frickin' last because that's where Temple's going to go. I think Temple's the worst football job of the ones that are open right now. Realistically, it's probably Ball State, Kennesaw, or UMass. But, UMass is at least joining a conference soon. And, again, I can't do that to the Rochester Rocket. You think Rini would stroke a big check there, all that ESPN TV money he makes now. You think Ngolia would stroke a big NIL check there to his alma mater.
Maybe
Come
when
on,
they put him in
Rini.
the College Football Hall of Fame, they'll do it.
Yeah, put him in the Hall of Fame. He might stroke a check. So that's my list. That's it. That's the list, Pilk. So here we go. I'm going to rattle it off to you. The opening jobs now in college football, I got Florida Atlantic 1. I got Fresno State 2. I got East Carolina 3. Charlotte, I have 4. I have Utah State 5. I go Southern Miss 6, 7 Kennesaw, 8 Rice, 9 Ball State, 10 UMass. Temple, don't even have a stadium on campus.
Well,
11.
I've got Fresno at 1, FAU 2, ECU 3, Utah State 4, Southern Miss 5, Charlotte 6, Kennesaw 7, Rice 8, Temple at 9, just due to the TV money being a lot better than those other
It's a good
schools.
point. I'll grant you that.
The old Temple Tough. Ball State 10, and I have UMass at 11.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's no huge variance in what in other words, we might not agree on where Charlotte is, but it's in the range.
Yeah.
So I consider you to be quite a knowledgeable source of inane sports knowledge, but you know a lot of stuff, so you have a pretty good handle on this. So I think our lists are pretty, we differ maybe in exact spots, but I think the range is where it's supposed to be. Again,
I think there's 3 clear tiers here. And
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
When you get to the bottom, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I think those are all desperate situations. In reality, I would probably say Temple would rank ahead of Ball State and UMass. But again, I can't do that because this Temple job is not a good job. Yes, you could have success there, but right now as it's made up, you're out on an island in your conference.
Yeah.
You've never had success there except for a few minutes where you had some coaches pass through and used you as the ultimate stepping stone. Hell, was it Manny Diaz that was the head coach there and then took another job, went to Miami? Didn't even coach a game.
Yeah. At least Matt Rule hung around for a few games.
Right. So, but yeah, I think you're right. There are, how would you divide these? I would say the top 4 are different than, those are pretty equal footing deals, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe top 5.
Yeah. And then there's that mid-tier which, is like Kennesaw, Rice is in that mid-tier. Kennesaw is interesting
Southern
just because,
Miss.
like you said, they Southern Miss, because they just jumped up to FBS. So, like you said, they're clearly behind it, but they've got like one FBS win ever. So it's like we could look back on this list, hindsight being 2020, and say Kennesaw will either probably be like number 1 or number 11 looking back. Either be like, why did they make the jump, or oh my goodness, they did the same thing Boise State did. It's going to be one or the other.
We'll talk about this and cover this. I'd love to get your perspective. If you're out there listening, you can tweet at us at 943thegame or tweet at me at PManOnAir or message me, text me like some of you are. Like my buddy who's a big NC State fan. I sent him a picture today, Pilk. It had all of the teams that were bowl eligible. Did the little logo across the country where each university is. Duke, University North of Carrboro, and the ECU Pirates. And I texted him the entire map. Then I zoomed in on North Carolina and screenshot it and said, "Where are your Wolfies? Where are your Wolfies?"
Wolfies down, baby.
He was giving me a hard time, and he asked me something yesterday, and I said, well, unlike East Carolina, unlike NC State, is not just talking about women's sports this time of year. Because usually you're disappointed with football this time of year if you're a Wolfpack fan. And let's face it, basketball, despite beating Colgate last night, it's not going to be a banner year in Raleigh. So, but they have a women's basketball team. They're quick to tell you that. So that's kind of what UNC used to do.
Hey, we got to applaud them. They didn't lose to toothpaste. Number 1 rule in sports. Number 2 is don't lose to food. Number 1, don't lose to toothpaste.
That's awesome. Don't lose to food. All right. By the way, did you see the troll job by Stanford over Louisville? And they made fun of the Cardinal versus the Cardinals.
Yes, I did.
That was a pretty good little troll job. All right. Hey, no Biff Poggi running out of the field here. Cy Seymour is set to join us. He's got his sleeves, and we'll talk to the great Cy Seymour, basketball analyst in his 27th year, when we come back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're number 1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready? Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
He wasn't lying. Cy Seymour said, I'll never figure out a video feed. So we got him on the phone. The great Cy Seymour, ESPN Plus college basketball analyst for the Pirates. 27 years breaking down the action, calling games after many, many years coaching. Silas, how are you?
I am so good. You are spot on me. I mean, you just know what I can't do. I mean, I'm on the phone. That's pretty good for me.
No, it is. It is. I didn't want to say anything, but your wallet fell out. It looked like.
Yeah, how about that? At the game
Saturday, because somebody handed it back to you.
A student comes out of the stands, gives me my wallet, and we're playing. Yeah, I lost it just moving around so much because it was such a darn good game. By the way, you did a great job on the call. You really did. What a heck of a game!
Cy, did he take a little of the? Because I think you got your first per diem check is still in that wallet.
Yeah,
so.
Well, he took it. It's okay. He deserved it. He deserved it. It's all right.
It was a reward. It was a reward for returning it to you. Yes,
exactly.
You'd have been lost without the AARP card that was in there. So, I'm giving Cy a hard time. All right,
and well
Silas. Yeah, well. So, Cy, let me ask you a football question before we get going here. And this will lead to another overall college question. But so Charlotte fired Biff Poggi. You know, a lot of people say, why, that's an outside-the-box thinking kind of thing. But that obviously didn't work. And then they'll joke, well, you need to think outside the box on these things. But that obviously doesn't work. You got to have some idea of what you're doing on football. Everybody says, well, Deion's outside the box. Well, Deion knows a thing or two about football. Played it pretty high level. Anyway, but Biff Poggi apparently ran out with his team this morning, according to Pilkington. A day after being fired, he showed up at practice and ran out with. So I don't know what the story is here. That Biff ran, or that he showed up. Isn't that just strange?
That is strange. Football is just a different breed. I mean, you have to. It's hard enough with 12 guys. And in basketball, a team, I can't imagine what football's like. And I did football for 3 years in high school and was a defensive coordinator. But there's nothing like college football. I just that many kids. I remember I was at Athens Drive recruiting a basketball player, and we were at their awards day banquet, and I'm sitting there, and there was a football coach beside me. And I'm offering 2 kids from Athens scholarships, and they get to come on stage, and I hand them, the letters of, for getting a scholarship. This guy, and I said, man, I tell you, keeping up with 12 guys is tough. He said, I'm a junior college football coach. Try keeping up with 100 kids. I don't know how he does it.
And now it's
that time
the scholarship limits are going to over 100. Yeah, scholarship limits are going to, but it leads me to this before we get into the Pirates.
Sure.
With football, it is driving the bus so much that we have totally gone down this path of insanity in college athletics. And unfortunately, hasn't totally happened yet, but it's going to happen. This football thing's going to take basketball down with it.
Yeah, the sad thing about it, it really is, and you could. The ACC is doing what the American did. They are chasing the football dollar, and now their travel is as spread out as the American. I mean, when you're trying to figure out how do I get into this race, you'll go anywhere to pick up teams, and I really don't mean ugly, but they got to dance too late. This was a basketball conference, and they've not gotten anywhere with it. But look, same thing with the Big 12. I mean, Kansas, that's a basketball league. And now they're, all of a sudden they've got teams in there like Central Florida and Cincinnati that were in our league. But I don't know if it really makes a difference into the dollar bills that you receive later on eventually, or trying to get that dollar. It's the SEC and the Big Ten running it.
The great Seymour on the line with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show today. Let's talk about ECU and that great double overtime thriller against George Mason. And a lot of excitement with that. Just a great basketball game. And as I said yesterday on Talk of the Town, as I said yesterday here on Greenville's #1 sports show, the Patrick Johnson Show, as I said, if you look at that and I tell you, hey, East Carolina beat a top 100 program, or for the uninitiated, and unfortunately there are plenty of those out there, what does that mean? Top 100? Come on, you got to be kidding. Unlike football, there are 364 Division I football teams. So you're talking the top 30
basketball teams.
So you're talking the top 30 percentile. And East Carolina beat a team that, in my opinion, because you've seen a lot of basketball, I think that's a team that could be in the postseason. It's got the makeup; it could be in the postseason. So that's a huge win yesterday for ECU.
Patrick, you're right on it. When you beat somebody in the top 100 in basketball, there's 68 in the NCAA tournament. Anybody that you hear that's in that top 100, they have a chance for really good postseason play. And to make light of it is crazy. It is too many good teams out there. When you look at it, sometimes when you look at the top 100 teams, it can be Maryland, it can be Georgetown, it can be so many good ball clubs on that level. And that was a big time win. This is a team, George Mason, who's been to the Final Four, who's known as a really strong basketball program. John Larinaga made the start of it. And now this is the next player of his that's running the show, highly talented, great, well coached, and they come into ECU, who they have owned us. They've won 9 out of the last 10, and they usually do. They're very well coached and they're good. And you get a win like that, that's a big time win. You're right. You're right on it.
So, what did you learn about this ECU team winning in double overtime against George Mason?
Well, a team takes the personality of their head coach. Their ECU's head coach, Mike Schwartz, his teams are tenacious, and they are never going to let you go. They take on. When you listen to these players, oh no, we're ready to go every day, every night. If it had gone 5 overtimes, they'd have never given up. That team is going to come after you, and they're playing as a team, and they have high quality talent in the first 5 or 6 guys, but the depth is not as strong as they want it to be. But they are so well coached, and they play so hard that Mike Schwartz is figuring out the parts of the puzzle that can work and does a tremendous job. We saw a lot of layups and things, but we took away their 3. He did things the other day defensively that they just work at it so hard, and they just do a good, and they're prepared. And give that to the whole staff. All of these guys coaching basketball at ECU are really hard-working guys that they don't leave any stone uncovered. And what I saw out of it was ECU's probably lacking in depth in the paint, but they play so darn hard. You got to give them credit, and they make up for it. Patrick, and I've always said the one thing you look at, here's what I look at for indicators. First of all, I'm looking at the shot clock and seeing how quick ECU gets down the court. Well, when you look up that court, they're down the floor on a 30-second clock, somewhere around 27. They're down the floor in 3 seconds. The speed of the game is unbelievable, and ECU's with anybody, they're going to get there. Then I look at, I've always said a key stat in the ball game is offensive rebound. Offensive rebounding. How well do you do? And I'm thinking if you get 10 a game, you've done something special, because offensive rebounding is simply, I'm going to out hustle you. I'm going to beat you to the ball. And East Carolina had 24 offensive rebounds. 24. That's unheard of. 24 offensive rebounds. That just makes no sense at all to get that many. You've got to give ECU the credit for what they did. And the second half points because of that was unbelievable. 22 second chance points. That's probably the difference in the game. 22 versus 10. So, or whatever it was. It was something along that line. Give ECU credit. So that's two of the things you look at. To out-rebound that team for the day, you out-rebounded them. That is remarkable to be able. 49 rebounds by East Carolina to 40. That's unbelievable. Over a dominant big team. That says a lot about East Carolina.
R.J. Felton was phenomenal and named the AAC Player of the Week. Probably should have been last week also, although I am sure he received strong consideration. But I think R.J. last week was so tremendous, so excellent. So let's give R.J. Felton some flowers. He certainly is someone that makes this Pirate team go. And you know, he's in the top 10 at scoring. I think by the time he wraps up his career, he should be a quick ECU Hall of Fame guy. He's going to make a lot of money somewhere playing professionally. Don't know if it'll be in the NBA, but he's going to do very, very well somewhere playing basketball for a good while.
You're right on him. I was looking at the conference stats right now. He's third in scoring. He's fourth in rebounding. Yeah, he's doing so many good things and that's in the league, in a really, really good league. Now, don't get anybody kid you. C.J. Walker's second in rebounding right now, but R.J. is third in scoring and fourth in rebounding in a tough league. The other thing about R.J., he had the other night, and I was doing my homework just to follow up on it. He had 5 offensive rebounds. 2 of them were on missed free throws. He's in the middle, and there's a guy in front of him. His only job is to block him out, and he's 6'2". He had 2 offensive rebounds on free throws. That is so hard to do. That is so hard to do. And he just does too many things so good. Now, can he shoot it better from the perimeter? Sure. He's going to. But the other part about him that you got to look at, and this is a key stat, when you look at free throw shooting down the stretch, that kid, let me tell you, I mean, when you look up, he's shooting that thing right at 91%. He's like 20 for 22 on the season. And 20 for 22 from the free throw line, he's getting in other words, he's averaging 10 a game. And in that game, he was 9 out of 10. He was 90% from the free throw line. So if you're a guard and you knock down the free throws down the stretch, and he did, there's no pressure, and it didn't even bother him. He just goes up there and knocks them down. He is playing like a man possessed. And what a treat he is to watch. But this whole team is fun to watch. You and I get the pleasure of doing games, and you're so good at the call. We get to see guys that are playing on a high level. This is a team that could be easily, if they continue to play like this, can get in postseason play.
We'll see. Certainly they're 4-0 now, a great mark, and I just hope it can continue. You can't stump your toe down in Florida this week, but yeah, and you got to stay healthy. Seymour with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. But I tell you what, why don't we, Pil? Can we grab a side? You got a minute? Can you hang through a quick break?
I certainly can.
Are you okay? Pilk, why don't we go ahead and get an update and hit a commercial after that? We'll come back and we'll wrap up the hour with the great Seymour. But right now, here is Philip the Ref Pilkington, 94.3 The Game. 2-minute drill, sports update, and Pirate Report.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, the football team is going bowling. Hampton Ergel talked about what it was like on the sidelines post-game as the team celebrated.
That's a lot of fun. Been lucky enough to experience it 2 other times. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun having guys like Dustin Hall and Payne to ask you that haven't experienced that before, but have been doing this a long time. it's a lot of fun to get that done for those guys.
They will be back in action on Saturday when they take on North Texas down in Denton. That will be a 2:30 network airtime for that just after 3:30 kick. Stay tuned for the start time to our Pirate Game Day Countdown, brought to you by Anson Belt and Buckle and Orthopedics East, as we have to figure out the start time of basketball before we can officially schedule our pre-game show. Biff Poggi is out as the head coach of Charlotte after less than 2 seasons. He went 6-16 in his tenure as associate head coach Tim Brewster will be named the interim. The New York Jets have fired general manager Joe Douglas. He joined the team back in 2019, and the NBA in-season tournament continues tonight. Hornets will travel up to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Both of teams are 0-1 in Group A play. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash update and Pirate Report. We're going to take a time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show and be back with more of Seymour on the other side.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salad, and more.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Okay, Seymour here with us here as we get ready to have ECU play Jacksonville State. I want to ask you about another player, Silas, and that is Jordan Riley, who I think very quietly has helped lead to this start for ECU that is 4-0. He's done things to win. He's averaging nearly 15 a game, but he can rebound, he can finish, he can defend. Had a great defensive play late in the game, even I think at the end of the first overtime on Maddox, the really solid guard for George Mason. So Jordan Riley, what a pickup that was out of the transfer portal, the senior out of Brentwood, New York.
No doubt about it. He is strong. He is physical. He can finish at the rim. You know, he's in the top 15 scorers in the conference. That's what, you know, when you look up at quality players and you're looking up and you see, you're going to see Felton there, and you're all going to see C.J. Walker's 9, and he's 15. These guys are really playing well. And Walker, I think when you also talk about him, he gets the toughest defensive assignment on the perimeter. You know, that's he had Maddox the other day for George Mason. He guarded Maddox, 6'5" guard, and he was so physical against him and really did a nice job on him. But the other day, you know, a typical game by him. I think you're going to see it all year like that. I mean, you think about what he pulled off. First of all, he played 43. Here's the key. When you look up Felton, 46, Riley Jordan, this is minutes, 43,
yeah.
Walker, 44, and Woodard played 42 minutes. That's just unbelievable. But when you look at his minutes, you know, he did the same thing. You're talking about a double-double. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds. I mean, he's just playing extremely well, but he defends well. So you're right. You know, a little stat that really is something about Cam Hayes. When you look at Cam right now is leading the conference in just the turnover ratio, and it's ridiculous. He has 17 assists and only 2 turnovers.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. That is an unbelievable statistic. I mean, nobody's close. He's at 8.5 assists of the ratio, the 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5 to 1,
yeah, nobody's close to him. Nobody's close.
That is wild.
I mean,
yeah.
he's playing unbelievable. But
he's been great. Woodard's been fantastic. I think Woodard's length and versatility is something you're going to have to play off of this year. And you could kind of play a smallish ball with Woodard out there because I think he's a guy, maybe more so than Walker, that can cover some mistakes up defensively or some mismatches with his length and how he has a knack for things. You've referenced C.J. Walker a little bit. I want to ask you, though, about some players you think that need to maybe raise the level for ECU, because when we've named 5-6 pretty good players, but you got to get a little more, and you got to get a little more consistently if you're Mike Swartz from the rotation guys.
Well, you made a good comment the other day when ECU had Cam Hayes, Jay Woodard, Deshane Woodard, C.J. Walker, Jordan Riley, and R.J. Felton on the floor. That team was really, really special. I mean, Deshane Woodard had almost, he had 12 rebounds. I mean, he had 7 rebounds. He had a lot of steals. I mean, he did everything right, and he just played well. So those 5 guys gave you a lot of minutes and played extremely well. So where do you get it from? Well, you got to get Jan Farrell has to hit. He's got to shoot it. He was brought in as a shooter, and he's got it. He just hadn't hit it yet. But you're looking at him for the 3-ball. He shot 41% his freshman year at St. Bonaventure's. He's a guy that's 6'6", 6'7", can do that for you. He's just got to start doing it, and he'll get there. But he's frustrated, I'm sure, too. And he's got to get more out of Sear Malanga. And I think he will. He's bringing them along the best he can. Julian Samaro played well, but he's going to be that guy that just spells people. And when you think about what he did the other day, he did a nice job. In a game that was that long a game, he played 19 minutes and did a lot of good things. But he is going to have to give you some minutes. But for them to get a little bit better step, Burrell's got to hit. Malanga's got to play better, play longer, more quality minutes. And then you'll see what your other 2 big guys can do. But overall, he's doing a wonderful job with his ball club. But you're right. There's got to be, when you get into the dog days of February, you're worn out and you're tired, your bench has to help you. And those 3 guys have really got to help them keep this thing going. Oh, and of course, relieve Mike LeBeau. LeBeau will help them,
right,
too. That gives them another man. He didn't play the other day, but he's going to give you quality minutes. But I think if you want to know where they're, first of all, they all are going to have to shoot it better. They're not shooting it the way you want to. They've got to shoot it better, but they're defending it good. They're defending the 3-ball really well. I mean, they're just doing a really good job. But those are the areas that have to get better.
So East Carolina is opening up with Jacksonville State in the beach ball event, Boardwalk Battle event. Excuse me. It's on Baller TV, which I'm sure, Si, you have that app downloaded on your phone. And
sure.
Yes, of course you do. So just listen to it on the radio. Listen to our guy Darren Vaughn.
Oh, I will.
Call it on 107.9.
Exactly
Come on, people. All right, but let me ask you about this. So there you go. So they beat LaGrange, Division III outfit. Okay. Lost at Air Force close. Knocked off, did Jacksonville State, Coastal Carolina just the other night. Blew them out, in fact, in Conway. Yeah. Georgia State also got a win against them. But, that's a little bit of an eye-opener because NC State ended up beating Coastal Carolina by plenty, but kind of struggled when the Pirates had to stave off Coastal. So that catches my attention there a little bit with Jacksonville State. This is not going to be a gimme on Thursday.
No, it won't. And to me, I'll just let you know ECU played them again. That first year I went with Joe Dooley's team way back. This is way back, and we played them down there. Their facility, they're very similar school-wise. It's a really nice school, kind of like an Elon. They're well coached, have good teams, and they're going to be ready to play. I can assure you of that. And it will be. And in fact, that game, you're going into it and I say, this is Jacksonville State in the middle of Alabama. It's a smaller school, well, they beat us that day too. They beat ECU that day, and they were very good. They were well coached, and you say, well, that you got to watch them. That they are that good a team, and I'm just saying. And by the way, when we played them that day, you know who the coach was. This will tell you how good they are. They're known for basketball. It was Mark Turgeon that went to Maryland. He went.
Wow.
He was a former player at Kansas. Mark Turgeon's first job as a head guy was at Jacksonville State, and then he went on to be at Maryland. Had a good career at Maryland.
Yeah. Hey, Cy, great to catch up with you. We appreciate the time and look forward to talking to you. I think next week we'll get a hold of you as well. But
I can't. I can't wait. And now, am I still working on that day during the basketball game with you? Am I still in? I'm just asking.
Yes, there's no sideline that day, so you're available.
Okay. Just want to know. I just want to know.
Madison did a great job. She was awesome.
She was
Cy,
great.
you do a great job too.
She was
All
great.
right. We got to go, Cy. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy.
All right.
Take care.
Tomorrow morning, Pirate women's basketball here on 94.3, the Game for Education Day against Howard. We'll be on the air at 10:45. Myself, also Philip the Rep Pilkington, back in the morning with Pilk on Talk of the Town. How about that? And then we'll be back here with Doug Martin for the Patrick Johnson Show at 5 o'clock. Have a great rest of your evening.